I'm sweating. Okay.
That's Dakota. Joe, that's Dakota. Okay, perfect.
Dear Hollywood, the truth about social media platforms. A long-awaited and highly requested topic is here. Social media and kid influencers. All I can say is careful what you wish for because we're about to go in. And yes, this will hopefully also address some of the comments around sponsorships that we've been seeing throughout the season. But I have a feeling this is going to leave us with more questions. So join me down this here rabbit hole. Did you know kid influencers make up an over $8 billion industry, with some kids raking in over $25 million a year just from unboxing toys or appearing in family vlogs? But who's pocketing the money if there aren't any state laws guaranteeing the child sees any of the earnings? Are there labor limits or regulations around a child being filmed all day? And if you're monetizing minors, is that exploitation or just family entrepreneurship? Is it a consent violation to share an adorable video of your child waking up in their bedroom if they didn't give explicit permission and understand that millions of strangers might watch this and it'll permanently live somewhere on the internet? Is social media the newest stop on the toddler to train wreck pipeline? Yeah. And I'm afraid it's worse. Because beyond Hollywood, social media has laid an entirely separate pipeline of its own that doesn't even require getting into the entertainment industry or professional high-performing spaces at all. Anyone who can post online can go viral, build a following as a digital creator, and make money, including children, most commonly via their parents, who are documenting their lives for all of us, a la The Truman Show. Well, in order for us to break down the magnitude of what's happening with kid influencers, we have to take several steps back and get to know who's behind the social media platforms, how they operate, what it means to be an influencer, and this whole ecosystem of corporate digital marketing. Y'all, I could do an entire series on this, but this episode is going to give us a deeper foundational awareness so we can more thoughtfully examine kidfluencer land. Please get your notepads ready. There's no better segue than to tell you this video is sponsored by HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Basically, they do all the meal planning and shopping for you, and then they deliver it to your door, and you just have to choose what meals you want to eat. They have like 40 recipes and 100 add-on items that you can choose every week. And as someone who would have failed culinary school, I can attest these meals are really easy to cook. They're really quick. So if you're on the go and busy and you need quick breakfasts and lunches, you want fresh snacks, this is great. I've found that during a transitional period like moving homes or just an extra busy work sprint or a season when I just need a little extra support with daily life, HelloFresh is super helpful and convenient option. I personally love the vegan black bean and sweet potato jumble. I made that for my roommate and myself. And then I also love the vegan maple carrot power bowl, but of course they have options for people who eat meat and dairy and all the foods too. And I have a special discount for you. Go to hellofresh.com/50dearfresh and use code 50dearfresh for 50% off plus free shipping. Go to hellofresh.com/50dearfresh and use code 50dearfresh for 50% off plus free shipping. And that's on being an influencer. Shall we? Where do we even begin? Okay, let's just start with 3 simple points. 1, social media has widened the funnel for fame, status, and publicity. 2, the rules of social media are looser than the rules of Hollywood. And 3, when we all made our social media accounts, none of us received a manual on digital citizenship and how to safely, responsibly, and legally use technology. Oops. So, some quick thoughts about these thoughts. 1, the wider funnel. For better and worse, social media platforms have removed some of the gatekeeping and red tape around access to information and opportunity. Social media is a place where anyone, relatively speaking, can use their voice to be heard. barring your country's censorship laws and other restrictions. You can share your talents, start a business, and sell products. You can build a personal brand. A new kind of status and success appear to be more closely within reach for a greater number of people than compared to Hollywood, especially when your hashtag outfit of the day pic is posted just millimeters away from Taylor Swift's selfie with her cats and Simone Biles' vulnerable journey to Paris 2024 Olympics. You're like practically peers. 2, the rules of the game and the metrics of success look different than in Hollywood. So unlike Hollywood's demands for unattainable beauty, the lure of Oscar-winning talent, and using the most expensive film equipment, social media loves a good cat video filmed on your phone. And you can build an audience around any niche. For example, gaming, teaching sign language, squishing your face into bread, tapping on objects, speaking against injustice, popping pimples, riding French elevators. In social media land, relatability often outperforms quality. Consistent posting often outperforms talent. And the professional etiquette and media training that you might have received had you pursued Hollywood are no longer a prerequisite for building a successful career on screen. You can skip straight to making millions just by holding a product in your hands. Not for studying any craft, just for making cute faces to a trending song. Hell, a big enough following on social media might even help you cross over into Hollywood if you want, putting you in front of thousands of hopeful actors who've been training and crossing their fingers for an audition. So you could literally leap from meme maker to movie star. A moment of silence for the trained actors and production crew who must work with you. Godspeed. And 3, this third point around digital citizenship. So the internet is a whole new world in which we're cohabiting and constructing. Certain parts are censored by some countries, yes, and let's not forget giants like Amazon, Meta, and Google who have immense power over information flow and online commerce. But each of us are also contributing to this global community. So raise your hand if you've reviewed and you abide by the 9 principles of safe, ethical, effective use of technology on a daily basis. There's a pervasive lack of public education around things like digital security, digital purchases, and learning how to vet the credibility of information before we spread false information with the touch of a button. Additionally, we don't really explain to people what it means to curate your online identity, let alone protect it. InternetSociety.org, who knows if they're legitimate, I just found it with a quick Google search, case in point, talks about how your online identity is not your real world self, even if you think you're being authentic. Your internet self is partial, it's curated, and different websites and apps know you as different personas, aka behavioral sets. One company knows your grocery list, one records the stocks you follow, one knows you search for new cafes with Wi-Fi every week. And with social media, you're voluntarily adding to this curated self, this trackable digital footprint every time you post, like, and comment. You know, concerns that were once reserved for public figures like celebrities or politicians are now issues for anyone with an online presence. Matters such as protecting your physical location, protecting your professional reputation, lest an old problematic tweet from 2006 resurface and get you fired and canceled, managing hateful comments and the optics of likes and views. From a health standpoint, we haven't proactively equipped people with the knowledge that addictive tech features, plus blue light exposure, plus FOMO when you see other people hanging out, plus, can contribute to depression, impaired memory and focus, loneliness, and even suicidality. We're seeing some studies now, but we've been surfing the internet for decades. It's almost like we ought to slow down and look both ways before crossing the street into AI land. So, if we take these 3 high-level points alone, that social media widens the funnel to gain fame of some sort, that there are looser rules to play that game, and a lack of preparation for us to understand the device and apps on which we're participating in this game, We see some yellow flags creeping up already around social media influencer culture. But then when we consider young kids being subjected to this as both the audience and the influencer, yellow turns to red really quickly. Kids, the digital natives who are inheriting this hyper-connected, tech-integrated world as their norm, are still kids, partially developed humans who haven't formed their own identity or critical thinking skills. When we hand them an iPad to watch toy unboxing videos on YouTube, do they discern the stealth advertising mechanisms persuading them to buy the new LOL surprise, or the gamified tactics used to get them to hit like and subscribe? Dr. Jenny Radesky, apologies for any mispronunciation, wrote that she found 95% of popular kids' apps contained marketing. 95%. And since app developers and platforms make more money when ads are viewed and clicked, they'll use manipulative approaches like showing a sparkling present or giving virtual candy to get the kids, who have weaker impulse control and less awareness of what's going on, to tap and watch. She said sometimes viewing ads takes up more time than playing the game itself. And at the time the article was written, at least, there were no laws restricting how many ads can pop up on kids' apps. Well, flip to the other side of that and picture the kidfluencer who is getting paid to promote toys to little ones watching at home. Do they understand that the digital world is built on advertising, and their seemingly innocuous product review filmed by their mom is helping corporate giants make money? That the company selected them because their gender, race, and age match the ideal customer persona, and they're almost unavoidably being used to perpetuate stereotypes within toy marketing. For family vloggers, since the production set is often the home space and any small life moment might be captured on camera, do the kids understand when their work day begins and ends? When they can just have a private conversation with mom without it being filmed or referenced in a later post? If you thought child actors in entertainment were unprotected, kidfluencers currently have even fewer legal protections and industry parameters across the board. As in, only one state has made one law to guard against financial exploitation, and that just happened. You ready to know the truth? I just need 10,000 likes to drop the gems. So smash that like button. Jokes, please cancel me. Bye. Okay, so who remembers the documentary The Social Dilemma? It examined the addictive design of social media platforms, as well as how corporations, governments, and big tech can maximally manipulate our perspectives and behavior, including what we purchase, how we vote, even who we hate. It's a little neuromarketing, a little propaganda, some algorithmic echo chambers, personalized feeds. Really good stuff. So good, we forgot that the doc explains how our personal data is in the hands of the most powerful entities on the planet. And by the way, in several cases, we gave it to them ourselves. Unless you read all the fine print in the terms and conditions every time, which if we did, we probably wouldn't agree to them, we're voluntarily giving up our data. Did you know some companies even record your keystrokes as you type and observe your facial expressions and eye movement to see what part of the screen you look at most so they can place the purchase button there? As a startup founder, I've now heard about tactics that other companies use, all in the name of businesses finding their competitive edge to secure their market position so they can scale and make more money. Oy. Take me back to my childhood when it was easy. Wait. So yes, it's time to talk about the star of the show for a sec. Money. Social media is inextricably tied to the economy and therefore capitalism. Oh, you thought social media was mostly a hub for conversations and connection? Aw. Well, according to Sudabrata Debroy, apologies for any mispronunciation, it's a diverse field of operations spanning advertising mechanisms, branding processes, and direct commercial exchanges between users. As you've witnessed scrolling from the toilet, companies and brands spend ad dollars to get in front of you on the screen. They use back-end analytics to hyper-target and acquire customers, like through viral campaigns and influencer marketing strategies. Hey! In return, you can buy their product in just a few clicks. And I get it, that's modern business. If you design a product and you're spending resources to make it, then of course you want to reach people who might convert into customers. So, social media and capitalism are in bed with each other. But who else is in this bed? Oh, politics and government. Nice. Cozy. I mean, I suppose they all interface in a variety of ways. Federal agencies conduct surveillance across platforms, monitoring, targeting, collecting information on us. Platforms censor or promote information depending on their leanings. Policymakers put platforms under regulatory scrutiny. I have a few suggestions to protect kidfluencers whenever you're ready. Politicians create geo-targeted campaigns and engage citizens intimately while also tracking their opponent's digital strategy. Algorithmic echo chambers stoke partisan animosity and polarization. Actually, Guy Schleffer and Benjamin Miller explained that social media can have quite an effect on politics and government. It's been shown to weaken strong democratic regimes, intensify strong authoritarian regimes, radicalize weak democratic regimes, and destabilize weak authoritarian regimes. So given all the dynamics at play and everyone sharing the bed here, we almost automatically know that the information that reaches us on social media is, at minimum, selective and/or persuasive. So much so, you might unconsciously change your political views over time, or find yourself donating to a campaign after an emotional Instagram live, or rocking merch with political slogans using the one-click buy feature. Can we talk about the one-click feature at some point? That's another episode. So we have capitalism and politics in bed with social media. So sexy. Who else is invited? Culture. Culture just showed up and hopped right under the covers. And that makes sense because social media is a reflection of and extension of culture. It's also a tool to propagate culture. And because of its increasing globality, is that a word, Miriam? It's deeply affecting intercultural and international communication at lightning speed. And to note, this also means that people who cannot access social media or technology are alienated and differently affected. It's another rabbit hole for another day. But things like social customs and gender norms, language and slang, like AAVE being mislabeled as Gen Z isms, sports culture, art, activism, all of these are deeply intertwined with social media at this point. So the bed is crowded, right? Social media, capitalism, politics, culture. Is there any room for one more? Because human well-being just arrived and tried to crawl into bed, but it keeps getting kicked out. To be clear, the metaphor here is that social media, capitalism, politics, and culture are all in bed together, and they're not leaving adequate room for human well-being to be a part of the sleepover. It seems human well-being is hardly ever invited to the party these days. Comfort and convenience? Sure. Deep well-being? In fact, research is showing that the dawn of social media and increase in phone addiction correlate to rises in mental distress, anxiety, depression, even suicidality. And guess who it's affecting the hardest? Young people. Sleep deprivation from blue light exposure and nonstop notifications disrupts mood, behavior, and academic performance. Pressure to filter and edit photos affects body image. Rapid scrolling impairs focus and memory. Even critical thinking skills and IQ have lowered. Because remember, none of us got a manual for how to use this responsibly, safely, ethically. So yes, while social media broadens overall information access, we're arguably becoming more mentally inept. And what would that make us? If nothing else, more vulnerable to being controlled and manipulated, to remaining in this illusion. And who would want such a thing? Like, who would benefit from such a thing? So, human well-being is in the corner of the room, staring at social media, capitalism, politics, and culture all nuzzled up. While this bed is imaginary, picture yourself crawling into your own real bed for a second. What do you bring into your room? Maybe even into your bed with you? Your phone. What's on your phone? Social media. So who are you in bed with before you sleep? Capitalism, politics, and culture. And your well-being is in the corner, sleeping on the floor. All right, well, there's a glimpse of the digital landscape. Now, let's talk about being an influencer. On the next episode, unlike the polished and glamorous life of celebrities, early social media culture celebrated people who were real. Nowadays, that's no longer really the case.